Hello, everyone. Today is Thursday, October the 26th. I'm Ryan Hill.
I'm John Galantis. I looked over to where my camera. Yeah, I looked over to where my camera usually was.
Yeah, if you notice, we did rearrange things a little bit. So you're having to kind of track where a new camera is.
Yeah, it's been a week, but it's still
nice to kind of sit together and have a conversation.
I like
That's good.
Yeah.
You're listening to Clearview Today with Dr. Abadan Shah, the daily show that engages mind and heart for the gospel of Jesus Christ. You can visit us online at clearviewtodayshow.com, or if you have any questions for Dr. Shah or suggestions for new topics, send us a text to 252-582-5028, or you can email us at contact@clearviewtodayshow.com.
That's right, and you guys can help us keep the conversation going by supporting the show. You can share it online with your friends and your family. Leave us a good review on iTunes or Spotify, anywhere you get your podcasting content from. We're going to leave a couple of links in the description so you can do just that.
And the verse of the day today comes from Colossians chapter 3, verse 14. But above all these things, put on love, which is the bond of perfection.
You can't get simpler than that. As deep of a book as Colossians is, you really can't put the gospel into simpler words than that. Put on love, which is the bond of perfection.
I love the way that Dr. Shah says it sometimes, because he reminds us that the gospel is simple, but it's not simplistic.
That's right.
Like it's easy to grasp, but there is so much depth there. Because love, I mean, that encapsulates everything we're meant to do as Christians.
Right.
We're meant to think of other people more highly than ourselves. We're meant to put their needs first. We're meant to serve people, because love is not a feeling. Love is an action. So we're meant to go out of our way to make sure other people understand not only that we love them, but that Christ loves them through our actions.
And it's biblical love too. It's not just tolerating people's sin, looking the other way, thinking about all the things that people had to go through in life. Love and empathy are not synonymous. You know what I mean? And so biblical love requires it requires correction, and it requires discipline, and it requires an intentionality to grow and to change and be transformed into the image of Christ. Yeah. You know what today is? It's Thursday.
It is Thursday.
Which usually we do this on a Tuesday earlier, but I said it was Thursday earlier. That means today is the time for the grapevine.
Okay. That was a convoluted way to get there. I was like, today is Thursday, but it's not Tuesday. Because normally we do it on what?
Yeah, I have got some gripes for y'all. Let me pick this off the graph.
What's on the gripe? What's on the vine today?
Traumatic experiences from my childhood.
This got dark quick.
My dad used to make me eat all my food. Okay, so here's the thing. Here's the thing. I was thinking about this the other day. When I was young, my dad would make me finish my plate. But what I mean by that is I had to eat every scrap of food that was on the plate. I couldn't be done with the meal until the plate was bare, until it was clean. But I didn't control how much I put on the plate.
You had no say in the portion size.
So he would give me what he was eating.
Yeah.
And then be and I would I'm looking at Gavin now. He's 2-3 years old. He's got a little stomach. So when he says he's full, even now, to my mind, I'm doing what my dad did, which he would look at my plate and be like, there's still food there.
Yeah.
You're not full.
You can't be full.
You can't be full
because
there's food on your plate. Even though I'm the one that put this adult-sized portion on your plate. And I remember as a kid having to sit there and cry and cry and cry, especially if it was stuff I didn't like, and have to actually finish the entire thing before I was done.
Yeah.
Before I could say that I was done.
Yeah, my parents did that too.
I hate that.
Yeah.
I absolutely hate
And then
that.
it was the whole guilt trip. If you left food on your plate, I can't anymore, I'm so full. There's starving children in Africa.
Yeah, there are kids
children
right now.
starving in the world right now that would love to have this food. I'm like, then can we mail it to them? Because I don't have any more room.
Put it in an envelope, mail it over there to Africa where they are, and and they can eat it.
I'm with you. I have caught myself with that mindset with my kids. So I've tried to check how much am I actually spooning onto the plate, and I'll actually err on the giving them less, and then have them come back for seconds.
Come back and ask for more.
I've made that adjustment, but only in recent years. So when the twins were little, I would kind of pile things on their plate. Maybe not an adult-sized portion, but I would be like, you didn't clean your plate.
It's also...
Full doesn't equal I'm out of room. Full equals an empty plate.
Right. Exactly. Full means that you had a task set before you, and now you've completed the task, which is dinner time.
Exactly.
I'm also noticing that you can't... I'm noticing that I can't put for what works for one kid for the other one. And what I mean by that is Holden will eat 2 straight up grilled cheese sandwiches, entire sandwiches, and he's less than 1 year old.
Yep.
I can't get Gavin to barely nibble on one.
Yep.
He's also, this is turning from griping about my dad to griping about my son, but he's also doing this thing where it's I'm going to take a little nibble.
Holden or Gavin?
Gavin.
Okay.
I'm going to take a little nibble, and then I'm going to just talk about things in the kitchen.
Yeah.
And I'm like, hey, it's time to eat. Let's go ahead and eat so we can
Yep.
get up. I don't want eating a sandwich to take 45 minutes.
Yep.
And he's like, I'm doing this, blah, 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 blah. He's like, oh, okay, now I'm going to take another little, I don't want grilled cheese. He puts it down, he's like, I get up, I'm done, I'm going to play. All right,
Yep.
I'm throwing the sandwich away. No.
Yep.
And then meanwhile, Holden's like shoving his face full so much that I got to watch him from choking.
Yep.
I don't know. They're so drastically different.
Yep.
Did your kids do that?
Here's perspective for you. So the other night we had lasagna for dinner.
That sounds good.
It was delicious. My son Noah, he's 11, growing boy. He eats a lot. Joanna, my youngest girl, is 7 years old. She eats like a 7-year-old.
Right.
So
Joanna's a slow eater too.
Here's where the story's going. So I served their plates at the same time. Joanna takes 3 bites in the time it takes Noah to eat 3 plates. But Joanna has told us everything that has happened that day.
Yeah.
I'm like, honey, I love that you want to talk about class, but you have got to eat because like we're past dinner time. We're approaching bedtime.
Yeah, we're getting ready for bed. Like,
yeah.
does she get hungry at all?
She does. I mean, she'll eat here and there, but she's more like, I want to socialize. I want to tell you about what happened. I want to tell you about my day. And that's also the difference between girls and boys.
Yeah.
But it was just funny to me. Like, she had 3 bites in the time he had 3 plate full.
Yeah, and you finish your plate
platefuls of
before like
lasagna.
anybody's even sat down, basically.
I do. Yeah. That's why I serve myself last, because I just kind of, and it's gone.
That's my gripe, man. I couldn't stand when I used to have to finish my entire plate rather than just be full and be done with dinner.
We can't be alone in this. You guys write in and let us know if your parents made you do this, or if like in your household full was synonymous with an empty plate.
Right.
Text us and let us know at 252-582-5028, or visit us online at clearviewtodayshow.com. Stay tuned. We're going to get Dr. Shah and we'll be right back.
Are you looking for some new worship music to go along with all these amazing shows here on the Truth Network? Well, today's your lucky day because Dr. Shah and myself and a lot of the rest of the Clearview staff have been hard at work writing for the last few months, and we're very excited to share Clearview's new EP with you, Together Forward. Not only do these songs sound great, but each and every single one of them were born from a place of genuine worship and prayerfully written by our team right here at Clearview Church. It's available right now on iTunes, Amazon, Spotify, anywhere digital music is sold. So make sure to pick up your copy today and let us know how these songs are helping you, whether they're helping your worship band in your church or just in the car or around in your everyday life. Email us at info@clearviewbc.org. You can also support the ministry here at Clearview Church by visiting us online. That's clearviewbc.org/give. Thanks for listening. Now back to the show.
Welcome back to Clearview Today with Dr. Abadan Shah, the daily show that engages mind and heart for the gospel of Jesus Christ. You can visit us online at clearviewtodayshow.com, or if you have any questions or suggestions for new topics, send us a text at 252-582-5028.
That's right. And if today's your first time joining us here on the Clearview Today Show, we want to welcome you, let you know exactly who's talking to you today. Dr. Abadan Shah is a PhD in New Testament textual criticism, professor at Carolina University, author, full-time pastor, and the host of today's show. You can find all of his work on his website. That's abadanshah.com.
Speaking of author, if you haven't done so already,
available
go pick
on
up a
Amazon
copy
right
of
now.
Can We Recover the Original Text of the New Testament? Now, navigate to another browser window.
You wrote
This was
that.
still playing. No, I did not write this.
Okay, that's funny because you didn't say the author's name, so I just got confused.
It's just here.
Yeah, y'all
Edited
look.
by,
But this is a radio show, though.
edited by, that is true, it is a radio show. Edited by Dr. Abadan Paul Shah and Dr. David
It
Allen.
just struck me that if you've been listening to the radio show, you haven't even seen the cover.
Look at it.
It's nice.
Oh, well, you can if you're on the radio. If you're on the radio, watch the video show.
Well, I tell you what, if you're on the radio, why don't you just go head on over to Amazon? Can
Yep.
we recover the original text of the New Testament? Abadan Paul Shah.
Pick up your copy today.
We're a bestseller right now. You're on
Yes.
the top seller list. on
That's
Amazon.
I was
exciting.
shocked.
Yeah.
And so I went and checked, clicked on it to see if it really was, and we are number one. Have
Yeah.
been for several days.
That's
Yes.
insane.
Yeah.
Let's keep it going,
Let's keep
Clearview
it
Today
rolling.
audience. Dr. Shah, how did you know, and when you were a kid, how did you know that a meal was done? Did you have to clean your plate completely?
Yes.
Really?
Yes. Growing up, I had to do that, and mom and dad would tell me, "So you can't have any drinks." Mom really, dad didn't care, but mom, mom was usually like, "Can't drink water until you're done." So yeah, I still to this day I don't drink water, and I have to make myself drink water because it's kind of rude, you know.
Like
you sit
during
there,
the meal?
Yeah, because you're sitting there eating away, and you you need to wash it down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was talking about how my dad always I didn't control when I was done. If it's just whatever he put on my plate, I had to finish it.
Yeah.
Nicole told me at one point that in some parts of India, it's rude to finish your plate, or it's not rude, but it means it signals to them that they didn't feed you enough. Is that true?
How do I say this? Used to be,
That was
but
the case?
unfortunately, those folks are becoming westernized.
Oh yeah.
No.
When I was in India about 3 weeks ago, or a month ago now.
Yeah.
Well, more than that, maybe a month and a half now, for my mom's sickness, and then unfortunately she died. But I know where she is. Praise God for that. But
Amen.
in that period, I was able to go out or go to different people's homes. They invited me to come and eat with them. So we went, and they don't do that anymore as much.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh.
I was like, I kept getting down to the last couple of bites, and the wife or the lady who was serving would be like, "Hey, let me get you some more." And I'm like, "Oh, I'm okay." But usually what's supposed to happen is for them to put it on your plate anyways. They don't do that anymore. I'm like, "Oh, I'm okay." It's like, okay. I'm like, "What?"
Wait a minute. There's a whole system. We had a whole ritual going. Like I was going to say no, then you were going to put it.
Clean your plate. Is it saying, "Hey, you didn't feed me enough," or is that just a signal like, "Hey, I would like some more"?
Well, usually you don't even get to the end of the plate before
Okay.
they're already putting some in there.
Okay.
That's how things used to be back in the 80s when I was back
Right.
in India. And in some ways it's still here in some homes. But and now it's almost like there's always that one chump who steps up and says like, "Well, look, he said he's done, so let him
It's
doesn't
like,
want
bro, you don't
force
learn
him.
that-
Don't force him. He doesn't want
force
any more.
I'm
You're
like, force me.
who elected you, buddy? Sit down.
Everybody here knows what it's about.
Yeah.
I'm leaving a couple bites, so
Who made
Yeah.
you chairman of the dinner table? Sit
Like you're
down.
messing up a great Indian custom of forcing, and it's for somebody who doesn't get to eat Indian food much. Put some on the plate.
Put some more on the plate, man.
You're
That's why I
ruining
left a little
I'll
bit.
be leaving in about a day or two.
Yeah, I don't
messing
want to go
things
back
up.
to McDonald's.
Why is there always one? There's one
I
at every
honestly
table.
was disappointed. I'm like, what happened to this wonderful country?
There's one at every table.
Yeah.
Inserts himself, uses words that
I'll
stop
bet-
things, and
After I was done, left, he probably went back in the kitchen and got some.
He probably got
some-
some seconds for
Seconds
himself.
for
that's
himself.
probably why he said
Dude,
that.
He's
You know,
okay, let him be.
He
He's
was
all
sitting
right.
there during the
Because
whole
they're for
dinner.
me. The
He was sitting
leftovers
there
are for
during the
me.
whole dinner just stressed. He was like, I
I really want another plate.
I want another
Yeah.
plate. I got to get this guy up out of here so I can go have me a second plate in the kitchen.
His motivations
Shameful.
came through in what he said.
Yeah.
Shameful
Yes.
behavior.
And so we're talking about, speaking of what he said, we're talking about words today. We're continuing
Yes.
the conversation from yesterday's episode, talking about our words and the power that they
I
have.
heard you over there trying to segue. That
Well,
was,
you
that was
do what
kinda
you can. You do what you can. But we're talking specifically about the power of our words and the danger of the words that we use. We talked on yesterday's episode about how our words can sort of speak our world into existence. How the words that we say, you can kind of track where a person is going based on the kind of words they're using. And Dr. Shah, we ended yesterday's episode, and you told us that our words can cause a chain reaction.
Yes. We're talking about James chapter 3, verse 7. It says, "For every kind of beast and bird, of reptile and creature of the sea is tamed and has been tamed by mankind, but no man can tame the tongue."
So I can take Shamu right out of the ocean, teach
yeah.
him how to jump up and do
Yeah.
tricks.
Yep.
People
Flipper.
have big old lions and tigers in their bedrooms walking around them,
Yep.
but you can't control your own tongue.
Gosh.
It says it is an unruly evil full of deadly poison.
Wow.
And then it says, "See how great a forest a little fire kindles." So I created a scenario. Imagine Mr. Kindle. Forest, a little fire kindles.
Okay.
Right.
Imagine a person named Mr. Kindle. One Monday morning, Mr. Kindle was running a little behind for his 9 a.m. appointment.
Oh, no.
And so he checked his rearview mirror and gently stepped on the gas. 5 miles over is all right, he's thinking. It's not a big deal. No one's out there. And he looked at his watch again and decided to make it 10 and then 15 miles over the speed limit.
Kindle
Oh,
playing with
Mr.
fire.
Kindle, you better calm
He is
down.
messing.
Playing with fire, man.
Unbeknownst to him, a policeman at the intersection clocked him at
Got him.
20 miles over the speed limit.
20 over.
Yes,
Oh,
from 5 to
dear.
20 now. pulled him over and gave him a tongue lashing.
Yep.
Yep.
Got
That'll
him, bro.
Yeah.
You got him, man.
And a ticket to go with it.
They're going to get you every time.
And Mr. Kindle was furious. He said, look at this cop giving me a ticket instead of catching some real criminal out there. Right? And that what Mr. Kindle says?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And so now he's late because he was pulled over. So he marches into his office yelling for his secretary, Mrs. Henderson.
Oh, she about to get it.
Yeah.
She about
Well, unsuspecting Mrs. Henderson.
she
She's
don't
just
even
sitting
know.
there quietly typing away at her desk.
He's
no
like,
clue what's
where
coming.
are the files that I told you to have ready for the meeting?
Now, if Miss Henderson knows what's up, she was just going to lay low, keep her mouth shut.
Yeah. Now she's like, well, you told me not to worry about them
Come on, Henderson.
and that you would print them for yourself.
Oh, no.
Lady.
Mr. Kindle's like, stop making excuses and get me those files. Don't think that I cannot replace you.
Ooh.
That's
He hit her with
here.
the jeopardy of her position.
I'm actually going to blame
Oh.
Miss Henderson for that one. She should have had the self-awareness to be like, you know what? I'm going to get you them files.
He's out
she
of
walked
line.
right into that whooping.
He's out of line, but he's right.
He's out of line.
And now Miss Henderson is furious. So she stomps back to her office mumbling, how dare he talk to me that way? And as she's turning on her computer, she notices a new temp. Should we call her Karen?
Oh,
Right,
no.
we
Karen the
got to.
temp.
Karen the temp. Let's do it.
And she said, Karen, we did not hire you to play on your phone. Get busy or go home.
That's how it goes,
Ooh.
Now Karen is furious.
man. Now she
No.
all because this dude sped.
Yep.
She's like, how dare Miss Henderson talk to me like that? You know, I was simply trying to access Google Docs to help her out. Fine, she can find it herself.
Bro, now she's not gonna get the files to Mr. Kindle. dude.
Yep.
And Karen decides to take an early lunch, still fuming over the morning's happenings. And just then, a young Nick comes by her window to take her order.
Nick.
Bro, I didn't know you
Not
worked
this
at Burger
Nick.
King. But
Oh, not this.
Oh, I see.
Not
This
this Nick.
Nick. And so, this is her first week on the job, his first week on the job. And he's nervous. He's still trying to, figure things out. He forgets to greet her.
Oh, Karen just don't
That's,
like that.
that's a rookie
Karen-
move, Nick.
Karen is not going to go along with that. She's like, look at these kids these days. When I was working, we had standards. We would like greet them first and he'd say yes, sir, and no, sir, and yes, ma'am, and no, ma'am. So she gets her order, and as she's driving off, she
Don't say it.
notices
Don't say it.
that her fries are missing.
Oh.
Nick's about to get it.
Oh, poor Nick.
Nick has no clue.
She's had it. So she stomps back to the window and she says, I need to see your manager, and I need to see him right now.
There it is. There's
it
Karen.
is.
There
that
she
ever
is.
happened to you, David? Anybody ever come
There
in
it is.
wanting to see the manager on you, man?
all the time.
And the manager comes over and she points over to little Nick and she said, this young man right there was extremely rude to me and he purposefully messed up my order. I just want to let you know that if you don't do something about it, I'm going to call corporate.
Would they call corporate
Right.
on you, man?
Missing fries in the order immediately escalated to a call to corporate.
To the corporate manager.
So the manager is like a little scared. He's like, man, I don't want this. Hey, Nick, you got to go home, man.
Coward.
Nick.
Coward.
Oh.
Lost a day of work. 'cause
Lost a day of work because Karen didn't get her fries, because she got yelled at by Mrs. Henderson, because she got yelled at by Mr. Kindle, because he got a speeding ticket
Because he was late.
because he was
He
late.
was late, man. He over.
So now Nick is mad. He said, that's so unfair. I didn't do anything wrong. And so he, of course, heads home. And when he gets home, here comes his dog, Spot.
Spot. Sweet little innocent Spot
the
bounding
dogs
over.
go get it too.
He came bounding over.
Link in the description if you don't get that joke.
He goes over to jump on Nick. Nick is in no mood to pet this dog. He said, leave me alone, you dumb dog. And he kicks at him.
Spot.
The dog. I didn't think the dog was gonna get it too.
You were
man.
always a good boy.
What he doesn't realize is that as Spot jumps back to avoid the kick, he turns over the charcoal grill from last night.
This is bedlam.
Oh, no.
This is just bedlam.
And Nick's dad had cooked some burgers for the family. It was a wonderful thing because Nick got a new job and all. Everybody's happy, but didn't completely douse out the flames. So there was a little ember still there
Not good.
in the grill. And guess what happens when Spot jumps back? He bumps over that grill and the ember sort of rolls down into the patch of dry grass.
That's all it takes.
and the entire woods behind Nick's house is on fire.
One little wind.
Oh,
This is bedlam.
I know.
This is just absolute
went
chaos.
From 0 to 90 so fast.
So who started the fire? Was it Spot? Was it Nick?
Bro,
Was it?
I think it was Mr. Kendall. I think it was Mr. Kendall
I
himself.
mean,
He has no clue.
ultimately-
He has no idea.
Isn't that crazy? That chain of events, like, but if you, this seems like an absurd example, but if you track this, I guarantee you, maybe not a forest fire,
Yeah.
but this has happened in people's lives.
My homie,
100%
my
this has
homie
happened.
Mr. Kendall is a verbal arsonist. He set a whole flock of woods on fire.
That Nick, you're gonna have to bill Mr. Kendall's insurance for this one.
Yeah, and then, Mr. Kendall has never seen those woods. He has never been back there, but he's caught fire. He is the ultimate culprit.
Wow.
And so that's what James is saying here. And he goes on to say in James 3:9, with it, talking about the tongue, we bless our God and Father, and with it, we curse men who have been made in the similitude of God. Out of the same mouth proceed blessing and cursing. My brethren, these things ought not to be so. Now, James has shifted the terminology from word to tongue to mouth.
Yeah.
Now think about that for a moment. Why mouth? Maybe because Jesus used that word in Matthew 12:34. Brood of vipers, how can you, being evil, speak good things? For out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. Whatever is in your heart, that valve is the mouth.
That's right.
That verse is always like a gut check for me.
Yeah.
Like, it's not that this person made me say mean things or this person made me have an outburst in anger. They just gave me an opportunity to display what was already inside.
Once you say something, that's something that I think about a lot, is that once I say something, I can always hope that the other person thinks I was joking or thinks I was kidding or thinks I was having a bad day, but it has conveyed, at least to some degree, what's inside.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, it's one of the most vulnerable things you can do is to misspeak or to not take care of the words that you choose.
Yeah, it's the escape valve. That's what it is. The mouth is the escape valve of the abundance of gunk in our hearts.
Yeah.
That's why a lot of times, you know, people talk about, well, you know, especially if they're intoxicated or if they're drunk or whatever. It's like, well, I didn't mean to do those things because that wasn't me. But really, that's the truest you. You know, you've lowered your inhibitions, and now your mouth, like you said, is letting all the realness escape. We're very uncomfortable by how ugly that realness is sometimes.
Yeah. And so, what is the problem? The root of the problem in James 3:11. Does a spring send forth fresh water and bitter from the same opening? Can a fig tree, my brethren, bear olives, or a grapevine bear figs? Thus, no spring yields both salt water and fresh. So, James explained the Freudian slip. You know what the Freudian slip is, right? You say things without knowing, but it's sort of revealing, displaying what was in your heart.
Right.
James and Jesus explained the Freudian slip centuries before Freud.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah. The problem is in our heart.
Yeah.
It's what's inside of us.
Yeah. Freud didn't come up with it. It's an old problem.
Yeah. So the content of the old well, this is the pre-Christ well, is a sin nature, of course, upbringing, how you were raised, bad examples, people you admired or you were sort of forced to live around, bad experiences, things happen to you, daily barrage from the world, the flesh, and the devil. That becomes the content of the old well. Now, what is the content of the new well? Here you have the new creation through Christ, feeding on the Word, the Bible, godly fellowship, rejection of worldly values, new habits. These are part of the new well.
One thing that you told me years ago that has stuck with me for almost a decade now is, you know, when I first started leading worship here at Clearview, I was very awkward bridging the songs, and I was like, well, what should I say between the songs? And I remember the advice you gave me was that you can't think up things to say. You have to be a deep person, and that's going to come out. And it was a frustrating answer because at the time I wasn't deep, and I wasn't spending the time that I needed to be being transformed and being in the Word. And I thought that if I could just memorize a script every week, it would somehow make me deep. But it's the exact opposite. And I couldn't find, and I see that all the time on YouTube, like what to say between songs, what to do, how to transition your songs for worship, or what to say from the pulpit. But nobody in any of those videos ever says you have to be a spiritually deep person.
Yeah.
They never do.
I mean, you cannot speak deep things from a shallow well.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You cannot draw clean, clear water from a shallow well. So someone said it this way: show me a harsh tongue, and I will show you an angry heart. Show me a negative tongue, and I will show you a fearful heart. Show me an overactive tongue, and I will show you an unsettled heart. Show me a boastful tongue, and I will show you an insecure heart. Show me a filthy tongue, and I will show you an impure heart. Show me a critical tongue, and I will show you a bitter heart. Show me someone who says hell all the time, and I will show you what's inside.
Wow.
That's
That's
incredible.
chilling.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Yeah. It's such a awesome indicator of what's actually in us coming out, and what we're putting on display for the world to see without even knowing, without even understanding.
Yeah.
We think our sins are so cleverly hidden.
Yeah. Yeah. We are our own worst enemy in that regard, where we not only trick ourselves into sin, but trick ourselves into thinking we can get away with it.
Yeah.
We can disguise it. We can rationalize it. We can, our minds are sort of our own worst enemy there.
We're so confident that people don't know the real us, the real sin the actual sin that I struggle with. Because I'll put some sins out there and let everybody know. Yeah, I wish I was better at this, and I wish I was better at this. But my deep sins,
Yeah.
my
The
personal sins,
real ugliness.
Yeah, I'm so confident and so arrogant that nobody knows them. But anybody who listens to me talk will know.
Yeah.
And that's the hardest thing, I think, to come to grips with, is that I have to be okay with them knowing, and be okay with striving to work better through God's grace.
Yeah. Dr. Shah, maybe there are some listeners who are here today and they have recognized that they need to make a change in the words that they use and the way in which they speak. What are some steps they can take to begin that process? What are some practical things they can do in order to start to check their speech?
The first thing I would suggest is, stop. Stop and think before you speak. I know many times I have messed up when I have just said what was coming in my mind. And that's not good ever. I've never walked away saying, well, that was great. I immediately responded to that, and I have no regrets. I would say 9.9 out of 10, I regretted that.
Yeah.
So stopping and then maybe thinking through, what is it that God wants me to say? That would be the next question.
Yeah.
But you cannot get there unless you stop.
Yeah.
And so stop, pray, and ask God, how should I respond to this thing? And that can be for everything. Advice people need, correction people need, encouragement people need. All of these things require you to stop, think, and then tap into the spiritual source, which is Jesus Christ.
Right.
And through the Holy Spirit, based on the truth that comes from the Bible, you can then speak life and hope and correction. Correction needs to happen. Grace, all of these things can come, but it comes when you stop, think. Sometimes it's also important to stop, write down what you want to say.
Yeah. Yeah. Because
Good.
I've always heard people say that, like, well, I've never regretted just not saying something. It's like, yes, but that's incomplete because as God has put you here to speak life into people's hearts and minds.
Yeah.
And even if it's a difficult situation, you have to correct somebody, whatever, write it down. And then what you'll find is that by the time you edit what you want to say, you'll end up saying things that will help. And I know many times I haven't. And I have to go home and go, okay, that didn't go well. And I need to work on that.
Yeah. That's so good. So important for us. Thank you so much. That stop, pray, write it down, and really think through, is this worth saying? And if it is, say it in grace, say it in love. If you guys enjoyed today's episode, if you found it helpful, maybe those things were the things that you needed to hear as far as checking your speech and how to proceed in a way that where your words reflect what you believe inside. Send us an email and let us know. You can email us at contact@clearviewtodayshow.com. You can, of course, text us 252-582-5028. Make sure you visit that website, clearviewtodayshow.com. Lots of important information up there. There's a link down at the bottom. Scroll down, click that link, and become a giving partner with Clearview Today Show. Let us know that gift is coming from our Clearview Today Show family. John, what's coming up on tomorrow's episode?
Hand me that hat right there. I'm going to show you right now.
This one right here?
Yeah, because we got a special guest on tomorrow's episode.
Oh, who's our special guest?
Dr. Questions
Dr.
himself,
Questions
my friend.
on tomorrow's episode. The doctor is in for a round of lightning round questions.
We're doing lightning round questions tomorrow. Tell them where to send their questions to.
252-582-5028, or you can email us at contact@clearviewtodayshow.com. We love you guys. We'll see you tomorrow on Clearview Today.